Do you ever feel a constant background hum of anxiety, a feeling that even when you are perfectly safe, you are not really safe? You sit in a comfortable room with food in the fridge and a locked door, yet your heart races when your phone buzzes. You feel exhausted by things that shouldn't matter. You lie awake at night, scanning the dark for problems that don't exist. We convince ourselves that we are broken. We think we are defective because we can't just relax. But you're not broken. You are simply misplaced. Imagine taking a wild wolf and locking it in a high-rise apartment. It would be stressed, it would be restless, it would be confused. That is exactly what has happened to you. You are a biological machine built for a reality that no longer exists. The truth is simple. Your body is here, in the modern world. But your brain still thinks you live in the Stone Age. To understand the operating system you are running right now, we have to look at the timeline of your manufacture. If we compress the entire history of the human species into a single 24-hour day, modern civilization, the cities, the farming, the writing, the laws, would only appear in the last few minutes before midnight. The internet, that appeared in the last fraction of a second. For the vast majority of that day, for hundreds of thousands of years, you lived in a completely different world. You lived on the open savanna, and that world was not kind. It was a horror movie that never ended. In that environment, you were not the top predator. You were slow, you had no claws, and you had thin skin. Everything wanted to eat you. The night was terrifying. Starvation was always 3 days away. A simple infection meant death. So nature designed a brain specifically built to survive that specific hell. It prioritized 3 strict rules. Rule number 1, assume the worst. Imagine 2 ancestors hearing a rustle in the grass. Ancestor A thinks it's probably just the wind. Ancestor B thinks it's a lion. If it was just the wind, Ancestor B wasted a bit of energy running away. No big deal. But if it was a lion, Ancestor A was eaten. He didn't pass on his genes. We are the descendants of the paranoid ones. We are the children of the warriors. Your brain is designed to treat every uncertainty as a potential threat because, for 99% of history, optimism got you killed. Rule number 2, conserve energy at all costs. In the Stone Age, calories were rare. You couldn't just open a fridge. Finding food took massive effort and risk. So if you weren't hunting or fighting, your brain rewarded you for doing absolutely nothing. Today we call this laziness or procrastination, and we feel guilty about it. But deep down your biological code is whispering, don't move, save the fuel. You might need to run from a leopard tomorrow. You aren't lazy, you are energy efficient for a famine that never comes. Rule number 3, exile is death. A lone human on the savannah was a dead human. We survived only because we cooperated in tight, small tribes. To be accepted by the group was life. To be rejected was a death sentence. This is why your brain tracks social status with the same intensity. It tracks physical danger. It learned to read micro-expressions, to fear judgment, and to conform. The pain of rejection uses the same neural pathways as the pain of a broken leg, because to your ancestor, being kicked out of the tribe was just as fatal as a physical injury. These are your factory settings. Your brain was not designed for happiness. It was not designed for productivity or truth or spiritual fulfillment. Your brain was designed for one thing only, to keep you alive in a world full of teeth. The problem is the teeth are gone. But the alarm system is still running at full volume. Here lies the tragedy of the modern human condition. Evolution is slow. It works in timescales of hundreds of thousands of years. Culture is fast, technology is instant. We have completely terraformed our environment in the blink of an evolutionary eye. We paved over the grass, we lit up the night, and we digitized our interactions. But we did not update the biological hardware. You are walking through Times Square with a brain map drawn for the African Rift Valley. Scientists call this evolutionary mismatch. It's what happens when an animal's instincts, which were perfect for its old home, become self-destructive in a new one. Let's look at how those 3 survival rules we just talked about are malfunctioning right now. First, the calorie trap. Remember, your brain thinks starvation is imminent. In the wild, finding honey or fat was a rare jackpot. So your brain evolved a powerful reward system. When you taste sugar, it releases dopamine. It screams, "Eat all of it now before it's gone." This was a survival mechanism. But today you live in a world of infinite calories. You are surrounded by engineered super stimuli, fast food designed to be saltier, sweeter, and fattier than anything found in nature. Your willpower isn't weak. Your stop button is just broken because nature never anticipated a world where a glazed donut costs less than a bottle of water. Your biology is trying to save you from a famine that doesn't exist. And the result is obesity and shame. Second, the false alarm. Your stress response and that surge of adrenaline and cortisol was designed for short bursts of intense physical action. Sea lion, run, survive, relax. The cycle completes. But modern threats aren't physical. They are conceptual. An angry email from your boss creates the same physiological spike as a predator staring at you, but you can't run from the email. You can't fight the tax bill. You just sit there in your office chair marinating in stress hormones that have nowhere to go. Your brain treats a deadline like a death threat. And because the threat is never resolved physically, you remain in a state of chronic, low-level inflammation. You are revving an engine in neutral until it overheats. Third, and perhaps most dangerous, the hypertribe. We are built to care about the opinions of maybe 50 to 150 people. That is the maximum number of relationships a human brain can manage. If you made a mistake in the Stone Age, maybe 30 people saw it, you could apologize, you could fix it. Today you carry a device that connects you to 8 billion strangers. When you post something online, your brain is subconsciously terrified that the entire species is judging you. When you see perfect lives on Instagram, your brain doesn't understand curated content. It just registers, everyone else is doing better than me. My status is dropping. I am at risk of exile. We built a digital coliseum for a species that gets anxious when 3 people stare at them. We are overstimulated, overfed, and overly anxious. Not because life is harder, but because everything is too much. We are simple creatures drowning in a flood of data we were never meant to process. It is painful to admit this, but if you look at a boardroom meeting, a political rally, or a football riot, you are not watching sophisticated cultural events. You are watching primate dominance displays with better clothing. We like to tell ourselves a story that humans are rational beings who occasionally act like animals. The science suggests the opposite. We are animals who occasionally act rational. To understand why we behave the way we do, we have to look at our cousins. We share nearly 99% of our DNA with chimpanzees, and when we study them, the reflection in the mirror gets uncomfortable. Consider violence. For a long time, we thought humans were the only species that went to war. We were wrong. In the 1970s, Jane Goodall observed something shocking in Gombe National Park. A group of chimpanzees split into 2 factions. Over the next 4 years, the northern group systematically hunted down and killed the southern group. They didn't just fight for territory, they used guerrilla tactics. They moved in silence. They coordinated. They eliminated their rivals one by one. This is the chimpanzee logic that lives in your brainstem. It creates an instinct called parochial altruism. It sounds fancy, but it means something simple and terrifying. To love us, you must hate them. Your brain runs on a chemical called oxytocin. You probably know it as the love hormone. It bonds mothers to babies and lovers to each other. It makes you loyal to your friends. But here is the dark side. The same chemical that makes you bond with your group makes you aggressive toward outsiders. In the Stone Age, this was a survival feature. If you didn't fiercely protect your tribe, you died. Today, this mechanism is hijacked by everything. Sports teams, political parties, iPhone versus Android users. You feel a genuine biological flash of anger when someone wears the wrong color jersey or votes for the wrong person. That isn't logic. That is your inner chimpanzee identifying a rival troop. But the story isn't just about violence. It's about hierarchy. If you put 10 humans in a room, they will instinctively, subconsciously sort themselves into a hierarchy within minutes. Who is the loudest? Who is the most confident? Who is looking at whom? We monitor our social standing constantly. Why does public speaking terrify you more than death? Surveys show most people would rather be in the coffin than giving the eulogy. Why? Because in the animal kingdom, standing alone in front of the group with all eyes on you usually meant one of two things. You were about to be challenged for alpha status, or you were about to be expelled. Your throat goes dry and your hands shake. Not because you are weak, but because your body is preparing for a physical fight for your rank. We are not fallen angels. We are risen apes. And until we admit that we are running on primate software, we will never understand why we build skyscrapers, but still act like we are fighting for a patch of fig trees in the jungle. So what happens when you take a paranoid, status-obsessed, energy-conserving primate and give him a smartphone? You get the mental health crisis of the 21st century. This explains why you can't stop doom-scrolling. Have you ever wondered why the news is always terrible? Why is it always war, collapse, and scandal? It's not just a media conspiracy. They are feeding you exactly what your brain craves. Your Stone Age brain has a negativity bias. It processes bad news much faster and deeper than good news. To your ancestor, a beautiful sunset was nice, but a burning bush was critical. Ignoring the beauty was fine. Ignoring the danger was fatal. So today, when you scroll past 100 nice photos and stop at one video of a fight or a disaster, you aren't being negative. You are being a vigilant survivor. Your brain thinks, I need to study this threat so I can avoid it. The problem is, the threat is on a screen thousands of miles away. You can't solve it, so you just absorb the cortisol night after night. It also explains your imposter syndrome. In a small tribe, everyone had a clear role. You knew you were the best spearmaker or the best tracker. Today, the competition is global. You don't compare yourself to your neighbor. You compare yourself to the top 1% of the entire planet. You see a 19-year-old billionaire on TikTok, and your brain signals failure. You see a perfectly fit model, and your brain signals unworthy. You are running a race against ghosts. You are constantly signaling your worth to a tribe that doesn't know you exist. And finally, this explains why you are never truly satisfied. This is the cruelest trick of evolution. Happiness is designed to evaporate. If our ancestors felt perfectly content after one big meal, they would have stopped hunting. They would have relaxed and they would have starved next week. So nature gave us a simple loop. You chase a goal, the promotion, the car, the relationship. You get it, you feel a spike of dopamine. And then very quickly the feeling fades. You return to baseline, you want more. This is called hedonic adaptation. It feels like a curse. It feels like you are ungrateful. But biologically, it's an engine. Your dissatisfaction is the fuel that kept your lineage alive. You are designed to always want just a little bit more than you have. You are not fighting your thoughts, you are fighting your architecture. Knowing this doesn't change your biology. You cannot simply uninstall millions of years of evolution, but it gives you the one thing your ancestors didn't have: perspective. When you feel that hum of anxiety, you don't have to fight it. You can simply recognize it. You can realize it is just an old alarm system ringing in a safe house. You can say, "Thank you, brain, for trying to save me from a lion that isn't there." We are not civilized beings pretending to be animals. We are animals trying our very best to be civilized. And that is a hard, messy, beautiful struggle. But if we are just animals, where do we rank? We often think humans are the most destructive creatures on Earth. But is that actually true? In the next video, we will look at the data. To answer a brutal question, are humans actually more violent than the rest of nature? The answer is not what you think. I'll see you there.